Did Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu threaten countries that want to put political pressure on his country? Netanyahu held a press conference after meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and he pointed to the cell phones of the audience. "You are holding a piece of Israel in your hands," he said.
The United States is with us, as are many other countries. But right now we have a problem centered in Western Europe, and we are working to lift this blockade, and we will continue to work. We will succeed in the political blockade as we succeeded in the military blockade. Do you have a cell phone? Does anyone have a cell phone? You are holding a piece of Israel in your hand. A lot of medicines, food, and cherry tomatoes are produced here.
Yes, that's Netanyahu's statement. He said that the cell phones in your hands are part of Israel. What did he mean by that? Let's remember earlier, there was an attack on mobile devices in Lebanon. There was an attack on Hamas members. Many of them had devices that suddenly exploded. What should we understand from Netanyahu's statement? Let's talk to IT expert Professor Dr. Ali Murad Kırık. Hello, welcome.
Welcome, Ms. Sultan. Hello, I wish you a good broadcast.
Thank you very much. What do you say? What did Netanyahu mean when he said the phones you're holding are part of Israel?
Thank you. Yes. Now, Netanyahu's cell phone outburst seems like an innocent example at first, but in fact, it is part of a much deeper strategy Israel is facing, because this statement right now clearly and unambiguously shows that it wants to show itself as an indispensable actor in the global economy. In other words, we can say that it is trying to legitimize the massacre in Gaza and Palestine. His message is that you cannot exclude us because we are in every aspect of your life, from the phone you use to the tomato you eat. You have just given the example of Lebanon. Now, this discourse is meant to neutralize criticism in the West, and in the West, you know, people are now at film festivals. Artists are starting to come together to put a stop to this massacre. Look, it is very important that they are starting to make noise. We have always stood by the oppressed as Turkey, Ms. Sultan. This is a fact, but the fact that such reactions are coming from the West and Europe shows that Netanyahu is slowly running out of credibility. That's why he starts such rhetoric, so that he tries to neutralize criticism. And it is not for nothing that Israel is called the butcher of Gaza, the massacre of the policies it implements. Now he has turned technology into a propaganda tool to use it. And pay attention, he is trying to establish a relationship of dependency through technology. He says,
"We are the most important part of the global economy. Without us, these things will not happen in your life." Does he mean it's incomplete? On the one hand, is there really a threat? Could he have used a statement like, "We are a part of you, we listen to you, we know everything you do," because that is how it is first perceived?
Now we already understand in many programs we have done with you that the phones you have are spies and that we are being listened to and monitored from everywhere. This is the first separate case. And he also says this. He doesn't just say cell phones. Look what he says when you analyze the language of the speech. He says medicine.
Sure.
Agricultural products
Phones,
in these
medicines,
areas.
most of our food is from us. Do you eat cherry tomatoes? Do you know where they are produced? He says the phones that you hold in your hands are actually part of Israel.
Yes. This is already one of the biggest problems. Even farmers sometimes say, you know the problems with these seeds, you know that they come from Israel. They were saying, so this economic dependence can turn into political pressure over time. So this technology export is not just a trade item. And remember that it can also become a diplomatic cosh. Today's outburst over the cell phone, tomorrow it will come to this point. You are using our technology. Then it can go to the point that you cannot oppose this policy of ours. That is already its purpose. So when you read this discourse right now, it comes out clearly and unambiguously. Also, Ms. Sultan, let's say that there is digital advertising spending in Turkey, for example. In 2024, it exceeded 190 billion liras. About 70% of this, more than $130 billion, went into the coffers of American-based companies such as Meta, Google, and YouTube. These companies, in turn billions of dollars of revenue into taxes in the US. In the US, every year, an average of $4 billion in military aid is provided
You
to
say that the
Israel.
biggest technology companies in America, such as Apple and Microsoft, have organic ties with Israel.
So we are. As long as we continue to consume the products of these companies, as long as we continue to advertise on these channels, they will be sent to Gaza and Palestine as bullets and missiles. It comes back as a bomb. I regret to say that this is a reality. Therefore, there are some things we need to do here, especially as Turkey. We need to minimize this independence and dependence. We need to develop our own technology. That's why we call it the next social. For example, we call it the most social. So we need to accelerate our R&D investments. In particular, it does not strengthen domestic production and domestic technology. For example, talk is one of the most fundamental elements. Just as important steps are being taken in the defense industry, we need a similar national move in the field of communication technologies. In addition, Israel uses social media as a tool of perception management. It wants to develop a strong communication strategy because it's not just about the economy, it's also about who will look more legitimate in the eyes of the international community. So we are
This is
fast.
the social media sites we use, X. It's no coincidence that we're seeing more Israeli rhetoric on apps like Instagram. Never a coincidence.
Fast, 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 fast. We're fast, we're fast. They formed a lobby, Mrs. Sultan, and in this way they allow these companies to use the shadowing tactics that you know on social media. In other words, although the content is shared, unfortunately users put it on the back burner. The algorithm ignores them, they don't get in front of anyone. So Netanyahu's cell phone outburst was a show of power, a warning to the West, rather than a message in this joke. He says, you can't do it without us. As Turkey, our strongest response to this is to produce our own technology and make our own production, not to be technologically dependent on anyone. Therefore, I think that these efforts should be supported from the government to the opposition. Because economic independence is digital independence, we can say that technological independence has also become extremely important for our national security.
We are not.